When you hit that menu button down here in the corner and the word IntelliSet came up, you got those 4 black buttons. One of those is going to say unit data, I believe it says. I believe is what it says. And then you got engine hours and stuff like that. When you click on that, you've got options that you can turn on so you can see what your sensors are saying. You've got the refrigerated sensors, and you have it's either unit or it's engine, I can't remember, sensors. So when you can click on that, and you click on which one of those you want to read, it's going to bring up, your display is going to change, and it's going to show you what your sensors are, right? So we can talk about the refrigerated sensors real quick. Okay. You're hardly ever going to have to go there unless you've seen that scenario we talked about a bit ago where the temperature's climbing, and it should be cooling. Right. Fairly unlikely, but you never know. Right. If I go to refrigerated sensors, it's going to give us a couple, like 5 things. One is going to be called the RAT, which is return air. Now think we're the reefer unit, so what's return air mean? That's the air coming out of the trailer returning back to me. So that is the same thing as your box temp. That's the air inside the trailer. The other is SAT, which is supply. What am I supplying? I'm supplying it to the trailer. So that is the temperature going out the top of that chute. Now, so you know if it's heating or cooling or not, the old days we used to have to be smart enough to do math and do it in our head. Now they have this cool thing that's called delta T that does the math for us. All it does is it takes the box temp and does the math difference from the supply, and that difference is how much it's either cooling or heating. If it's cooling, the supply going in will be colder than the box temp, so it'd be a minus sign. In our case, minus 25 if it's wide open. And then as it gets, temperatures change, and there's different things that make that number change. So if you see it's 23, don't worry about it. Right. But it's still dropping that much colder. If it was heating, for instance, let's say it's the middle of winter and you're trying to heat a load from being frozen, then it wouldn't obviously be a minus sign. It might be just 15, which means it's warmer air going in the trailer than what's coming back to it. That tells you if the reefer's working or not. The concern would be is if you had a box temp of 20 and you had it set to 0 and it's high speed, so the engine's on high speed and the fan's running high speed and it's supposed to be cooling, obviously, right? And you're like, it's not doing it, it's not doing it, it's not doing it, it's not doing it. And you went into those settings and you saw the delta T was only 5 degrees. Then we're out of Freon. There was a leak, something's broke, and it's not cooling because it should be. If it's 20 degrees out of range and it's on high speed and it's pointing down that it's supposed to be cooling and it's not getting the job done, and you went in there and checked it all out and the delta T was 5 degrees, we're either out of Freon or we're froze up. These units work pretty good compared to units I had 20 years ago, so they really don't freeze up. But obviously if the coils are all froze up, the suction pressures go through the roof and it won't cool. But that tells you if the unit's working or not.